Welcome back to Caravan of Garbage, everybody. We've got the movie Tenet coming up, don't we, Mason? Christopher Nolan, mind-twisting events.
Yeah.
Future, time travel, masks, flipping cars, but backwards. Who knows?
Maybe it's an allegory for the environment?
It could be.
Could be the environment.
So we thought, why don't we take a look at 3 classic but big-budget Christopher Nolan films?
Let's do a Nolan Palooza.
Exactly!
That's what he'd want it to be called, right? The Nolan Palooza.
And we want the Nolan Palooza text to be in 3D.
Oh, yeah, like bubble font.
Yeah.
It's like word art. It's going back and forth. I like it, yes.
So, for people who don't know, The Illusionist is a 2006 magician-centric epic. Set in the late 19th century, starring Edward Norton and Jessica Biel, it revolves around unraveling the mysteries concerning magicians' secrets, Mason. Do you remember the movie The Illusionist?
James, you have confused 2 very similar movies
That's right.
that came out in the same year.
Correct. Both based on books, but one of them goes, perhaps I'll make you disappear.
Perhaps I'll make you disappear.
But it's not The Prestige.
Not the one we saw, because I just watched The Prestige, and I don't remember that. What I do know about this movie, it is a classic slobs versus snobs movie.
Wow, why do you say that?
In the tradition of Animal House. One of them's a slob. Christian Bale's Borden, he's a bit of a slob. He's a working class man. But Hugh Jackman's Angier is he's a real posh toff, but he's pretending to be the common man, isn't he?
He's quite well-to-do.
He is well-to-do.
Yeah.
Sometimes he has a regular mustache, but sometimes he has that mustache where you trim it real fine at the top, and you've got that extra lip space there. You got the lip space.
Well,
that's how you know you're fancy.
That's how you know, because you got to get that special razor.
That's right.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you love movies about men wearing different beards, tricking each other over the course of 2 and a bit hours, you got to love this.
I do. Look, initially, when this came out at cinemas, I did not like this movie. For reasons we'll get into, I'm sure.
Let's just say spoilers.
Yeah, okay,
because
sure.
there's some pretty big twists in this. I was the same. I liked everything about this except the core conceit that you have to believe David Bowie builds a cloning machine or replicator.
Yes.
But if you can get past that, and watching this again, I really enjoyed this, like, a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of just the inner workings of this magical world and what it takes to be famous in the 19th century and the mechanics behind how do you make a bird disappear with, like, a weird mechanical kind of vest happening.
I've decided that James, there's room in the market now, in the marketplace for, I'm going to bring back the collapsible bird smasher. Just the device. Just buy it on, like, buy it through Instagram or whatever. I'm going to start selling them. They're due for a comeback, I think. It's sort of amazing to me, just as an aside, that in this era, imagine being an audience member who is so innocent and sort of bereft of cynicism that you can applaud the reveal of a big machine on stage.
Yeah, just a curtain pulls down, they're like, oh my goodness.
Very good.
Yeah, but I love that idea that it was in an era where the blending of the mystic arts and magic and science was
racism.
And racism.
Subtle racism.
That's right. But the idea that people would buy into this, like, maybe we can commune with the dead, and maybe there's forces at work that we don't even know about. But nowadays people are like, nah, it's fake.
Yeah,
like, straight away.
Right, yeah.
There'll be a Twitter thread, it's fine.
Yeah, there's a pretty big element of this movie is, one of the characters saying, well, actually, the audience doesn't want to know how it's done because they're swept up in the magic of it. And I'm like, not these days. These days they're like, it's CGI.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a magnet. It's got a magnet in his butt.
There's 2 Christian Bales. There's 2 Christian Bales in this movie.
There's 2 Christian Bales.
That's a twist that when it's revealed to me, I mean, it's not the point of the movie, but it's not a big reveal because for a lot of this movie, there's a man standing behind Christian Bale who looks a lot like Christian Bale.
Sure, right.
Do you know what I mean?
And you're like, is that Christian Bale's dad? Is he here to provide moral support? I don't know.
But I like the idea of these 2 men who are so obsessed with the craft, they are living this one life. Like, that to me is super interesting.
And that's based on a real life character. In this movie, we have a Chinese magician. That character's based on a real man who wasn't Chinese at all.
No, his name was William Ellsworth Robinson.
Not the most Chinese name I've ever heard. But yeah, he pretended to be an elderly, sort of decrepit Chinese man his entire life.
Yes.
As I understand it, he never said a word in English until he died. And those words were, oh, I've been shot.
Yeah, so there's a few different interpretations of this. But yeah, he did the bullet catch. The famous bullet catch that we saw in this movie. By the way, here's a picture of this guy. He is obviously not Chinese.
Right.
But again, that was the era when kind of the world was becoming smaller. You know what I mean? And you were getting all these different influences from around the world. So you'd go, I guess this is what a Chinese person looks like.
I've never been to China, so maybe.
But yeah, so the bullet catch went wrong and he went, oh my God, something's happened. Lower the curtain. So yeah, and it was like you said, the only spoken English words he'd said for decades.
Crikey, he said.
Yeah. So yeah, it was also, obviously, it wasn't just the bird smashing that was dangerous. A lot of these stuff that they used to do, it was quite dangerous. And what's the crux of this film though, Mason? What's the turning point that sets these three magicians
Oh my God!
against each other?
First of all, it's the death of Angie's wife.
Yes.
In a not related accident.
No.
What I enjoyed about
She would have died in that Cody Ugly movie anyway. She would have slipped on
Slipped off the bar, exactly. That's right. Just on a river of tequila. What I enjoyed about, look, I didn't enjoy that death. Obviously, grisly and
Sure.
not a great scene, obviously. But what I did like about it is that prior to that happening, the two aspiring magicians are just arguing over knots. Like
Yes.
that's their pop culture trivia of back in the day. At one point, Bale says, "Oh, so you know more about knots than me, do you?" Like.
Maybe.
It's their Game of Thrones of the day. Oh, sure, do you?
What I find fascinating about that is there's a theory behind the reason that she couldn't get out of it is because the one who had the argument about what knots what, will you know more about knots than me?
Yeah.
People love our accents. That the one who was in that argument wasn't the one that tied it.
Yeah,
so he
right.
didn't hear that. So she thought that he was going to tie a certain knot, went to do it, botched
Yeah,
it.
right.
And it happened that way.
Well, that's why I guess
Yeah.
we'll never know. There's probably a knot expert on YouTube who's just looked through it, who's watched the movie intently and is like, I know exactly.
I looked into it. It's quite ambiguous.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So what I think's pretty terrible about this movie is, though, Christian Bale probably murders Coyote Ugly in this movie, right? And Hugh
sure.
Jackman's like, I'm not having it. I'm not having it, quite frankly. And he'll shoot some of his fingers off, which I find justified. But the way that he then keeps coming after Hugh Jackman, like he shatters that woman's hand on stage, he completely obliterates Hugh Jackman's knee. You killed his wife.
Right?
So it's kind of like,
Leave it
do you
alone.
want to back up a little
Yeah,
from
yeah,
this?
right.
But I think it's one twin that's more obsessed than
Oh,
the
yeah,
other.
for sure,
Obviously,
yeah.
I mean, that's how we find out at the end.
James, here's a list of actors
Yeah.
that I forgot were in this movie until the rewatch.
Let's go.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
Thought she was in The Illusionist. Surprise to
You're
me.
thinking of Edward Norton.
Piper Perabo, as previously mentioned. Rebecca Hall. Andy Serkis.
Yep.
Niles from The Nanny.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
An element that I also forgot about this movie, a lot of it is people reading each other's journals.
Yes.
There's a moment where Borden is in prison and he's reading the journal of Angia, and in that journal, Angia is reading the journal of Borden.
Well, yeah, if you've read the book, which I have in preparation for this, yeah, I go above and beyond. Sometimes I do insane things for these videos that never make it in, including reading a book for a couple of days.
We might even cut this out. Who
Yeah,
knows?
that's right. It's just reading journals. It's them reading each other's journals, and then in the modern day of 1996, a descendant of Christian Bale, then fighting out about this whole situation. But the inciting incident isn't a murder. Christian Bale's character, I'm just going by actor's names.
Okay,
It's just
sure.
easier.
He
shoves his wife at like a fake seance and causes her to miscarry. And that's how it kind of kicks off.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's other elements that are different because the cloning machine or replicator, whatever you want to call it,
It's not a cloning machine in the book. That's the thing I was wondering about.
Well, it's sort of the same. You still get the leftover empty husk of a person, but there's no personality in it. It's just gone.
see, right.
And what happens when Christian Bale interferes with the machine and it splits them into two. So there's two Hugh Jackmans. One's like this sallow kind of dying human being, and the other is like this ethereal kind of spirit, kind of like The Illusionist, the movie The Illusionist, 2006. And then he continues to live on for centuries.
See.
So yeah, but in this one, it's just two Hugh Jackmans. Two Jackmans.
Oh!
What do you think of that? Oh, David Bowie, by the way. Good to see him. Apparently the only person Christopher Nolan had in mind for this was like, if I don't get David Bowie, I burn this movie to the ground. Doesn't matter.
Imagine being any of the other actors or crew on this movie and getting that phone call. I couldn't get Bowie, so good luck on the unemployment line. Good luck, idiots.
The core of this movie, which I really enjoy,
Yes.
is just someone's obsession just ruining a good thing that you have.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could just get to a point where you could let it go, or at the very least not have it consume your life. Like, does it matter how he does the transporting man? Like, ultimately not, I guess.
Technology was limited back then. Odds are probably a wire.
That's
Probably
right,
some
probably
wires or a trapdoor.
Or two people that
Two
look similar.
people, yeah.
Yeah.
I was speaking of, One thing that I'd forgotten about this movie that I very much enjoyed was Hugh Jackman's cameo role as his own body double, George Root.
Yes.
He's doing some incredible teeth acting.
Just some big teeth happening, isn't there?
It's real.
Don't mind if I do, sir. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of, he's made some incredible transformations in the sort of teeth lip area that I really respect. You should bring that back for something. You should bring that back for Wolverine.
Yeah. What I find incredible about these movies and a lot of Christopher Nolan's movies, they're so intricate the way that they're connected, as opposed to, say, the Michael Bay Transformers movies, which we recently endured. If you take a bit out of it, it won't really come together. And there's 146 time jumps during this movie. And the fact that you can follow it is incredible to me.
That is true, yeah.
There's not a point where you're like, wait, what point in time? But he had a different bit. Is this Hugh Jackman or two Jackman? How many Jackmans are in this movie?
Just check the teeth. That's how you know.
That's how you know.
They don't explicitly say it, but if you concentrate on the teeth, you know what time you're in.
Yes. I want to also talk about that cloning machine and what I find interesting about the Hugh Jackman character in that.
Yes.
There is no original Hugh Jackman by the end of this movie, because the first time he goes in the machine, the one who stays put shoots the other one.
Yes.
Kills him, right? Every other time that he does it, it's the one who stays in the machine that drowns.
That's right.
So that means whatever way you look at it, whichever one is the real Hugh Jackman.
Probably long dead by now.
Long dead by now. I mean, he's long dead at the end anyway. What I don't understand anyway, he's so obsessed with show business, much like the real Hugh Jackman, no doubt.
That's right.
That he could have just made 2 of him and be done with it.
Yes.
But he had to drown 60. Like, that's crazy, right?
Well, I mean, that's true, but, you know, what's he going to share the spotlight? He's the greatest showman.
Yeah,
Come on.
but he'll wear a beard and he'll shoot the other one, won't he?
Well, that's true, but I think what happened there is he panicked initially. The first one was out of panic.
Yeah.
And then after that, he's like, well, I did it once. You know?
I did, so I'll drown 60.
Yep, that's right.
But it just seems, if you made a copy of yourself, the other one would be on board for what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
But if one of you is that obsessed, then the other one's also that obsessed. So
yes.
I think they would both be that paranoid as well.
Yeah.
And as one became more paranoid, the other would also become more paranoid. See where I'm going with that?
Yeah, no,
so I think it's an inevitability that one would try to kill the other. So why not start early? You know?
Yeah, but that's fine. So there's one. Yeah, you're probably right that maybe he knows that about himself. That if he lets 2 Jackmen run around in the universe, eventually he's going to wear a fake beard and try and shoot him.
Yeah. Or his gums are going to recede.
That's right. But there's so much that could be done with a replicating machine.
That's what I disliked
and
about this. That's the only element.
Magic trick.
You're right.
Magic trick.
Look, again,
infinite money.
Well,
babes. Babes for days.
Oh my God, babes for days, did you say? Look, again, you're absolutely right in that, you know, and on the one hand, it is a measure of this man's obsession. It's given him tunnel vision that even though it would have incredible applications, he's focused so hard on it being, he's just using this for magic tricks. But you're absolutely right. Infinite everything. It's a world-changing device.
Yeah, because not even Tesla's like, I could make a couple of Andy Serkises, couldn't I?
Right,
That'd be pretty good. Like, even Tesla kind of dismisses the machine. It's like, I made the machine and now I'm leaving. Tesla, what are you doing?
Which makes me wonder, what else is he building?
I think Christian Bale, because one Christian Bale gets murdered at the end. He gets hung.
Yes.
I think he should have just made another version of himself and just go, good enough.
Right, yeah.
There's 2 of us together. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. You be the reckless one. It seems like the reckless one and the callous one, though, is the one that dies, right? The one who's like, I'm married, but whatever. He's the one who's obsessed with finding out how the trick.
Yes, he's the magic obsessed one.
done.
That is true, yes.
Yeah. I just think that's fascinating as well, that even within twins, there's one that keeps pushing it too far. And eventually, it's that obsession that's like, now you've done this, haven't you? Oh, Michael Caine's good in this as well. At the end, he's like, your wife drowned and it wasn't good. Like I lied earlier. She would have hated that.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few people who would love it, to be honest.
Yeah. Also, me, Michael Caine, maybe you should have taken the axe off me because I'm a 75-year-old man. Maybe you could have smashed the glass case, Hugh Jackman. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, he's great at this movie, as he is in all things. Quora?
The internet website that answers all your questions.
That's right.
Yes.
It poses the question, is the story of the film The Prestige real? And what I want to say to people is that we can leave that up to you. That's up to your interpretation of these film events. How much is real or how much isn't?
Oh.
I mean, it's not. None of it's real.
None of it's real. I mean, it was a cloning machine.
Based off a book.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely fiction.
That Chinese English guy, he was real.
Yep.
Shot in real life. They should have put that in, if I'm honest.
Now, James, I have a little extra segment here.
I love segments.
Well, here's the thing. So this movie ultimately is about how this obsession turns to tragedy and danger and evil and wrongdoing and tragedy, and ultimately there are no winners.
Sure.
But That's loser talk. So what I'm thinking is we should determine on points who is the actual winner of this movie.
Oh.
In the style of Civil War and Batman v Superman, there's got to be a winner. So is it Team Angier or is it Team Borden? So all we have to do is tabulate the results. Okay, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Angier gets to smooch his beautiful wife, Piper Perabo. 1 point.
Pretty good.
Borden gets to murder Angie's beautiful wife, Piper Perabo. 1 point. Borden's on the board. We're even. You ready? All right. Angier.
This is neck and neck.
Angier shoots off Borden's fingers. That's a point, but it's double points. Why? The second Borden has to chop off his own
That's
fingers.
true.
Borden ruins Angier's act and crushes that lady's fingers. Very embarrassing.
That's
Remember
true.
that? That's a points for him.
Also, that woman, -1 point.
Oh yeah, she's
She's off the board.
She's probably not going to win this. Borden, he's back. He tells Angier's double, Gums McGee, that he can make some demands. Angier's got that perfect act. Ruined now. Angier gets to smooch Scarlett Johansson.
Hello.
Borden gets to smooch Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, she's got 2 on the board.
Two on the board, Scarlett Johansson. Maybe she's coming up from the back.
Well,
She's gonna
3.
win
There's
this.
3 of them.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Angier gets to meet Nikola Tesla. Yes.
I thought for a second you were going to say Nicolas Cage.
Angier has to meet Tesla's dumb magic fanboy assistant.
Oh,
Ooh.
no,
Negative points.
No, come on.
Negative points.
Ah.
Borden gets to smooch Rebecca Hall.
Hello.
That's right. Borden has beautiful daughter with Rebecca Hall.
That's true.
Angier gets to purchase Borden's beautiful daughter.
The dream.
That's right. Angier gets 1/2 of Team Borden framed for murder and executed. That's worth 10 points, I reckon.
Oh, definitely.
Borden lives at the end.
Yes.
Only one to live at the end. Murders Angier. 1 million points.
Yeah,
He's the winner. Borden's the winner.
Wow, that was like watching a race car.
Pretty tense, except for the million points at the end, which kind of ruined
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Made
but-
it a foregone conclusion, I think. How many Angiers do you think he killed?
I think he ended up doing about 60 shows from memory.
That's too many.
But he was gone for 100.
Yeah, right.
Also, Hugh Jackman, what are you doing?
Yeah, come on, man.
You're too dedicated to show business.
You're right.
That's your problem, mate.
Do you mean the actor or the character?
Just both. I
Yeah,
can't
both,
separate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Often also I didn't know it was Hugh Jackman because it was just a sea of beards and mustaches and fake
True.
teeth.
Yeah.
Just swirling about in my mind. I don't know, man. I just think I didn't not like this movie, but going back to it, I appreciated it so much more than when I just went when I was quite young and I went, oh, cloning machine, as if.
Right, yeah.
Just make infinite babes, man. What's wrong with you?
That's right, yeah. But I think, yeah, and again, in a rewatch, because it is itself a closed system, like it's the machine is built, then the machine is packed away forever, and it's never encountered again. Kind of like the story begins, the story ends. That I guess I'm in terms of a rewatch, I'm like, okay, well that's the obsession died with the man kind of thing.
Would you say that this is one of the better Christopher Nolan films?
Yes.
I think it is.
Oh yeah, look, honestly, spoiler alert, it's quite rare for me to watch a Christopher Nolan movie that I dislike. So well done, renowned movie maker Christopher Nolan. You've pleased me, the viewer.
Do you think there could be one coming up in this trilogy of Christopher Nolan movies that you're like, maybe not this week, Christopher Nolan, not a fan?
Oh, maybe. I don't know what else is coming up. So
Well,
maybe.
next week we're going to be doing...
Inception. I like that one.
No, we're going to be reviewing noises. This is the noise we'll be reviewing.
I'd have to listen to it a few more times, but I think I like it.
Sure, good.
I think it's ripe for being overused in movie trailers for the next 5 to 10 years, probably.
Initially, you're like, this is quite compelling. What a fascinating use of sound design. And then you're like, get this the fuck away from me.
Please.
For the
It's
rest of
assaulting my ears.
Yes. Anyway, this has been The Illusionist. Sorry we didn't mention Jessica Biel much, but I feel like she didn't play that much of a role in this movie, if I'm honest. This has been fun. I really like talking about this one. It's a nice reprieve to be like, oh, good movies again. Whew.
Isn't it amazing that this movie featured a number of actors playing near identical characters and they were still less confusing than the Transformers movie? Isn't that wild?
Well, there is. Stanley Tucci played a wizard in Stanley Tucci, if you recall.
That's true.
So it's got the Transformers have their own thing going on, don't they?
They really do, don't they?
Anyways, if you go to bigsandwich.co and sign up, you can actually get these videos early. Next week, of course, as mentioned, Inception.
That's
Very
right.
exciting
Wow.
to come back for that. That's right.
Wow.
Very excited to come back for that. You also can get there some exclusive podcasts.
Right.
Early videos. Did I already say that? Movie commentaries. Oh my goodness, subscribe if you could. But even to this channel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just subscribe. Just go on a subscribing rampage. Become obsessed with subscribing, and then it'll lead to tragedy.
That's
but
right.
not for us. We'll get $9 a month.
And that's what we're about. Yeah. All right, guys. See you next week.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you later.